Welcome to Philly Tech Connect podcast, where Philly's tech minds meet. CEOs, developers, dreamers. This is your space. Each week we explore the journeys of tech innovators. Join us and be inspired.
Hey everyone, Dave here with another episode of the Philly Tech Connect podcast. Today I'm speaking with Jordan Ambra, who helps SaaS founders build great software via expert advice, with him being a seasoned CTO. Peace of mind as a service is where companies can be sure their product operations are on the right track. Excellent teams building great software without all the waste and suffering that most companies have to deal with. Jordan, how are you doing?
Hey Dave, I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me on your show. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. I noticed your Serenity Software and you talk about peace of mind. So I'm getting a vibe of product development being kind of chaotic and you guys being the solution. Is that right?
Yeah. I've been writing software for a long time, and especially in my earlier days when I was first getting started, I noticed that I would get into this cycle where I would try something out and I would push it live and let people use it, and everything was always broken and on fire. And um, it's not very fun to wake up at 2 in the morning and have to go fix something that you broke really badly. And it turns out I'm not all that unique. It happens to a lot of people. And, it's not a very good experience for anybody, not for the people writing software, and certainly not for the people using the software. So I made it my mission for quite some time now to figure out why that happens and try to help break people out of that vicious cycle of chaos and hair on fire mode all of the time.
Love it. So it sounds like this is a problem that other people have. Tell us a little bit about the companies that you work with and why they need your help.
Sure. So most of the time I'm working with software as a service companies, but really any software company, anyone making a software product for sale for other people. Um, and a lot of the time you start a new business, you start a product, things are going very well, probably moving along quickly. You're kind of unburdened, right? And you can go as quickly as you want to. And then as you become, more of a real business, as you grow your operations, you grow your client base, you start sort of just like adding a lot of things in. And it turns out that a lot of companies will just become so burdened down with maybe bureaucracy or process or number of people that they have to support and everything else. And in a lot of ways, it's kind of like golden handcuffs. You're doing so well that you're sort of suffering from success. It's a good problem to have. But a lot of these companies will sort of look around and be like, okay, why can't we get things done? And when we do get things done, why does it take so long? Like it's almost like sticker shock, except in terms of it is sticker shock a lot of the time because of payroll. Like it's not really a secret, right? If you run a software company, it's very expensive to pay people. And seeing, hey, it's going to take us a year to deliver this, you're thinking about, okay, what's a year of payroll? And it's a big number for a lot of people, and you start doing the math of whether it's even worth it. And that kind of inflection point is important for people where they realize, okay, well, something's wrong here. Why can't we deliver the things to our clients and make them happy? Or when we do deliver to them, why is it always kind of a rushed, half-baked solution that doesn't really work very well? And that's where I come in and help advise.
All right, I
And
want to
giving
unpack
away
that.
as much of the secret sauce as I can.
I want to
Oh, sure.
unpack that
Go
that
ahead.
secret sauce because I have had a software business before that I ran for 4 years, and I've started other software startups, and I deeply understand or relate to this problem of why does it take us so long to do something like so simple? So tell us a little bit about your unique approach to how you go about solving this.
Yeah. So there's three pillars that I use. Those are people, process, and product, right? And a lot of people want to come in and they want to look at your product itself and they think they can solve whatever problems you're having by saying, okay, well, you're just missing such and such feature, or you need to, re-architect this and all of your problems will be solved. But it's kind of backward, and it's why I place things in that specific order. You have to start with your people first. If you don't have people heading in the same direction towards even understanding why they're building the software that they're building, it doesn't matter how efficient your processes are. And it doesn't matter how great your product is, they're just going to mess it up, right? Because they can't make good decisions. So there's sort of I guess it's an ongoing conversation usually, but a lot of it is just a management and leadership problem. And I know that may be a little weird to say from a consulting and advisory type position, but a lot of these things that are going wrong in people's companies are just people problems. You have some jerk on the team who can't get along. That's a common one. Or like maybe they're not a jerk, but they're the only person who knows how to actually do anything, and everyone else is kind of sandbagging. And these problems just kind of grow and grow and grow, and they cause a lot of diseases in the company. Like we commonly call them something like technical debt, or something being buggy, right? But a lot of that is just really due to a personality problem. And this is where it's tough, right? Because I'm talking to people, and those people need to have some level of, I guess, humility and willingness to reflect and think, okay, well, maybe I'm the problem here. What can I do to change? What can I do to fix this? Because usually there's some management issues as well. And, it's sort of like your personality ends up funneling into your company itself if you're a founder or a leader in your company, right? Like if you're not super organized or not a very good communicator, chances are pretty good you're not doing a great job of communicating that vision of why your company even exists or what your product is even helping with to the people working for you. And they're just kind of floundering. So I start with people, making sure that people are actually working well together, making sure they understand why they get a paycheck. Like, why do any of this stuff? And then once you have that sorted out, you can dive into the more straightforward operational things like, okay, well, do you have a good process, and is your product actually meeting the needs of your clients?
Tell me a little bit about how often people have the humility to be able to accept the feedback that you found. When you speak with management or the jerk on the team, are they actually willing to make change?
So a lot of the time I have a bit of a self-selection bias here, right? Or maybe just a selection bias, where the people who actually want to work with me do have that humility baked in. And it's kind of like going to a doctor, right? And there are a lot of things that you can do without going to a doctor. But if you are in trouble and you can't figure it out yourself, like there's no shame in that. Um, but it does take humility, and it does take a willingness to push yourself and grow. And I've found that it's actually been surprising to me how many people are this way. And I'm grateful for it. Selfishly, it helps me make money. But um, the the willingness, especially of founders and entrepreneurs and people who truly have that entrepreneurial spirit to grow and change and make whatever moves necessary. I find that sliver of people is very open, because their ego is not on the line. It's their money and their risk on the line. And that's generally what they care about. They either want to, serve their customers better and they can't, or they're trying to make money or pay back their investors and that sort of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that either. And they just need to get it to work without spending millions on payroll.
Jordan, I'd love to hear what's next for Serenity Software and how people can find you if they want to get in touch.
Yeah. So my website URL is just serenity.software. Got one of the cool domains there. You can find me there. Easy to work with. Try to make it very risk-free and very helpful. And happy to chat with people. I don't know if that always comes through on a podcast, but I love meeting people and I love just kind of talking about what people's businesses are like. No strings attached. So come say hi.
For sure. Jordan, thanks so much for being on the show today and contributing to the Philly Tech community. We'll talk soon.
That's all for today's episode of Philly Tech Connect. Join our community at phillytechentrepreneurs.com. Special thanks to our sponsor, shortlist.io, a digital marketing agency specializing in top-notch link building, content strategy, and web design. Stay innovative, Philly, and see you next time on Philly Tech Connect.